Hey, so other movies happened this month, aside from the one we just discussed. Um, there was Glengarry Glen Ross. It's a David Mamet adapted uh, play that probably has one of my favorite performances of all time by Jack Lemmon. Has anybody else
Oh,
seen
right.
the movie?
Yeah, yeah.
I've only seen that one clip with that actor who is in a bit of
Hot Wad?
trouble right now.
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin? Were
Yeah,
you
that one.
asking about
That's
his
the one.
name?
Can't think of his name.
Oh, not Kevin Spacey?
Oh, was he in that? I don't even know.
Yep.
He was?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that movie was littered with problematic people.
Wow.
Hey, don't
Well,
say
I mean, it is a
don't say
David
anything
Mamet.
bad about Jack Lemmon.
It is a David Mamet joint.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I remember watching an interview with Jack Lemmon after the movie came out, and he was like, "I tried to do everything I could to make this character unlikable and as Weasley as possible, but because it's Jack Lemmon, it's impossible to hate him,
Mm-hmm.
even though he is despicable in the movie." But yeah, I think this movie's fantastic. If anybody hasn't seen it, it's in its entirety. It's about a bunch of salesmen who have a deadline in order to get their sales commissions up, or else they're going to be fired. And it's, as with most David Mamet movies, it's sprinkled with his vintage expletives and very like purple prose dialogue. But it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Ensemble cast though. Besides
Oh yeah,
Kevin
Ed
Spacey and Alec
Harris,
Baldwin and Jack Lemmon, you got Al Pacino. You have Ed Harris, right?
Ed Harris,
Who was the other? There's another
Alan
older guy.
Arkin,
Yep, Alan Arkin.
Jonathan Price.
That's the other one I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah,
So real good uh, character piece for a lot of different actors, and you get a different feel from all the salesmen. So
like
I know it's a good performance piece for a lot of different theaters to do to showcase. You could play all these different parts at a different age. It's good.
uh,
I think you'd like it.
What
Yeah.
Yeah.
also Hero came out this month. Not the Jet Li movie, the Dustin Hoffman movie. The
Oh, with the airplane?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yes,
I remember that movie. I saw that. I
okay,
saw that like twice when I was like a kid on TV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was on TNT a lot.
Yeah.
yeah.
Surprisingly, I only like if it was on a lot on TNT. I'm surprised I only saw
Dustin
it two
Hoffman is just
times.
amusingly odious in this movie. As
Mm-hmm.
self-centered ne'er do well who witnesses a plane crash and rescues a bunch of people out of it, and it's like the inverse of a Frank Capra fable. It's actually a pretty good movie.
I may have said this during our Billy Bathgate episode, but I think this is my introduction to Dustin Hoffman as a kid. So
Yeah,
imagine seeing this and he's so awful, and you're like, this
yeah.
perfect American actor, not knowing Graduate or Rain Man or Midnight
Oh,
Cowboy or anything. So
I mean, if you saw Midnight Cowboy as a kid, then that's
yeah, all right, all right.
Um, a nostalgic favorite. I'm sure a lot of ours. The Mighty Ducks came out this month.
Mm.
Yeah. They have the continuing Disney series, The Game Changers, on right now, but this is the one that started it off. This might be like my first hockey movie, if I recall.
There aren't many.
Yeah, there aren't
Yeah.
many. I mean, I was too
There's
young.
more than you would think, though.
Yeah, I was too
Yeah,
young for Slapshot, so I hadn't seen that yet. But
you haven't seen Slapshot?
no,
Miracle.
I've seen it,
Oh, but
but
not
just at
not
the
the
time
kid.
that I saw this, I hadn't seen Slapshot yet.
Sure. I mean, this is the kids one, so
Yeah. I
Slapshot.
tend to like the sequel a bit better, D2, but it's
hmm
probably because of the Queen soundtrack, I would think. But this
fair
is
enough.
as far as a predictable underdog story. This is a pretty good one, and Emilio Estevez acquits himself quite well with the kids.
Yeah,
He's
I
a
think
well
he's good throughout the series.
Yeah, unfortunately, by the third movie, he's kind of reduced to a cameo.
Hmm.
Um, Speaking of sports movies, Mr. Baseball came out this month.
Ooh.
Another Tom Selleck starring vehicle, and another dud, another big dud. in retrospect, a lot of the humor in the movie, he plays a baseball player who gets traded to a Japanese team, and a lot of the humor is very xenophobic and racist, especially
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
how they
fun.
influence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
Um,
very uncomfortable now.
Mhm.
I remember seeing it as a kid and thinking, "Oh, this is fine," and not getting how unaware they were of what they were saying.
right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've learned, and I think this actually, unfortunately, could be a step into learning. Like you make the mistakes in order to learn
Yeah.
how to be better. So,
True.
How to not be a racist.
right. Yeah, that's the best thing I could say
More you
about
know.
it, though. So,
Um, Of Mice and Men came out this month. The Gary Sinise directed Of Mice and Men, or it was Gary Sinise directed, I think, right? He
yeah,
starred, and
yeah,
it's him and John Malkovich plays Lenny, and this
yeah.
is the one I actually watched in school. I remember after we read the book, and
Yeah.
so this is the one I'm the most familiar with, the adaptation I'm most familiar with, and
Yeah,
I don't know if John Malkovich got nominated, but he sure should have.
I think he did, but I'll
Yeah.
double check. I love his performance in it. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
it's one of the best adapted character
Yeah.
performances in
And
any
it's
novel.
unconventional
It's
casting
also,
too, because when you read about Lenny, you expect him to be some lumbering, hulking giant of a man. And sure, I'm sure they gave John Malkovich some lifts so he would look a bit taller, but he doesn't look as intimidating as he's described. But he
yeah.
portrays the sweetness of the character.
I, I think that another problem with like that mental image of Lenny is like Looney Tunes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
True.
because there was that parody of it where there was always that big lunking idiot character who was like, "Oh boy, George, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy,
right.
can I keep him? Can I keep him?" That character. But like I do remember in the book, like he was described as like, yeah, he was strong, but like you didn't expect him to be that strong.
Mm-hmm.
So like
Right,
John Malkovich being like how he is, and like he did have that look in his eyes where he looked like an innocent kid, so he pulled
right.
that off pretty well.
No nominations I
Mm.
can see anywhere. Sinise was nominated for the Palme d'Or, but that's
Oh,
about it.
that's great.
Well,
Yeah. So they and critics loved it though. It just never got
Yeah,
any nominations for any awards, as
it's
far as I
I
can
don't think
see.
Gary Sinise has directed anything since that's really noteworthy.
Yeah, that's kind of a shame. I wonder if because people didn't see him win accolades, he didn't get a chance to do anything else, or he just didn't want to, maybe.
Maybe
But I think he did a great job.
they did do a really good job. It's not an easy book to adapt,
No,
especially with the performance of Lenny. You got to be very careful.
Yeah.
Um, 1492, Conquest of Paradise came out. The second uh, Christopher Columbus movie that came out this year. The better one, but still just as turgid as the other ones.
oh,
Directed by Ridley Scott, though.
were they
yeah,
trying to time it with the,
Wait.
the
Ridley Scott?
With the anniversary,
I
yeah.
didn't
with
know
the
that.
500th anniversary?
Yeah, they did.
Ugh,
yeah, that's why they were trying to do it. Remember last month, I think, or maybe 2 months ago, we were talking about the Tom Selleck playing the Spanish King.
right.
That was the other adaptation. So
Yeah,
that tried to come ahead of Columbus Day, and this must have come out around Columbus Day.
yeah. This was instead of a George Coreface that was in the previous one, this is Gerard Depardieu. So it
Also
it's still
cancelable.
kind of miscast, but
Yeah,
I mean, obviously Ridley Scott's really good at sweeping vistas, and that's about as much faint praise as I can give this thing. Other than that, it becomes like an Errol Flynn movie, like the other one, where it's just swashbuckling on a ship, and it's. I'm starting to think that maybe Columbus's story is not that interesting when portrayed on film.
I
Amerigo
mean,
Vespucci might have been more interesting to cover, but we never got
right.
that.
I mean, there's so many explorers that happen that we learn about that all did basically the same thing,
Right.
and so is it really worthwhile? I don't know. It's just the name got used the most, so
Yeah.
then we think he's more important than anyone else and important to cover, but it's
Right.
just sailing across the ocean and taking people's land. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, they
yeah,
shy away from the
imperialism.
colonialism part, you know.
Yeah.
But
Oh well.
Steven Skull's best movie came out this month, Under Siege.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and I know Tristan would probably, if he hasn't seen it, he would enjoy it because one of the villains is portrayed by who?
Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones.
I've seen it. It's the only movie I will admit Steven Seagal actually did well in because I
He's
do
good
not
in it.
like him, and he's good in that.
Yeah, he's good in it. It's got two really good villain roles because it's Tommy Lee Jones and Gary Busey.
Oh, I forgot about Busey.
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm too much in love with Jones to see anyone else.
Right. The only problem is the last fight, as with most Steven Seagal fights, it's very one sided. He doesn't let anybody get
Yeah.
one hit on him.
Yeah.
This is before The Rock was putting clauses in his contracts to prevent things like this. So,
Mm-hmm.
let me show you where Steven Seagal's vanity was at that point. But still, actually, surprisingly good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Candyman came out.
Oh,
Uh,
just had that remake last year.
yeah, I think this is a really. I didn't think this movie got the respect it deserved amongst like horror fans and just film fans in general. Just how good it is at conveying that how we all create these urban legends that haunt generations and how they create to like they become a life of their own. They manifest themselves throughout the generations and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a more thought provoking and cerebral horror movie than you think, and it's not as much about the slashing and bloodletting. In fact, you don't even see Tony Todd until halfway through, and when he does come on screen, it is a powerhouse moment. Um, it's actually adapted from a Clive Barker book,
Really?
and he has a pretty good track record with having his stuff adapted between this and Hellraiser and Midnight Meat Train and um, Lord of Illusions. He
Mm-hmm.
he's got a pretty good track record.
Yeah, I want to see it, but that is one of my biggest fears: someone coming out of a mirror. So
Yeah,
I don't
just
know if
don't
I'll
say
ever
his
be able to
name
watch.
3 times. I think it's three
I
times.
know. We used to do that when I was growing up in the theater that I would perform at. We would all go into the bathroom and like the other kids would try to get me to say the name of Bloody Mary or
Oh yeah, Bloody
Candyman,
Mary.
and
That
I
Bloody
just
Mary is such an old
I'm
one.
traumatized from that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Um, Consenting Adults. Speaking of Kevin Spacey, came out this month.
Oh.
A very tawdry, sordid, cheap, uh, extramarital affair thriller with him and unfortunately Kevin Kline.
Oh.
Yeah. Um,
Sorry, Kevin.
yeah. Sorry, Kevin. It's a bit of a dud, and it's sad because it came from the usually reliable Alan Paluca or Pakula.
Mm.
Yeah,
Cool.
Pakula. Who's usually a really good director with political thrillers, but not so
Yeah.
not in this.
Yeah.
A remake of Night in the City came out with. I know this is an under the radar movie. Actually, pretty good too. It's Robert De Niro, and it's directed by Irwin Winkler, who's usually a producer. He like
Mm.
produced Rocky and some other things, Raging Bull. Um, it's based on a 1950s movie, and Robert De Niro plays this like ambulance chasing lawyer who becomes a boxing promoter,
Hmm.
and it's written by Richard Price. So again, like I'm not just like David Mamet. This guy's a really good wordsmith, and a lot of his dialogue just sparkles. It's very streetwise, and I haven't seen the original, so I can't compare the two. But I actually enjoyed watching this one.
Hmm. I wonder if this would have been a better hidden gem.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Doctor Giggles came out this month. If anybody remembers that, does anybody remember Larry Drake from
Yeah.
from L.A. Law and Darkman? He got his own horror movie, his own slice and dice horror movie where he plays Doctor Giggles, which was I think was meant to be a parody of the genre, but then just became a really lukewarm example of it. He plays a mental patient who thinks he's a doctor and does like surgical procedures on people throughout the movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that last
Yeah,
one.
it's very campy and tongue in cheek. It's but not necessarily funny. It doesn't have that wit that it needed. And then lastly, there was Quentin Tarantino's directorial debut.
Oh, huge movie this month.
Reservoir Dogs.
Could not do this
Oh,
as
yeah.
a hidden gem.
No,
Yeah.
no. And
Yeah.
the movie still holds up. I just watched it the other day in preparation for this, and it's still amazing.
Yeah, I love it.
Just the
Pulp
way
Fiction.
that the whole story is formatted, where it's a heist movie where you don't see the heist. You see the aftermath, you see snippets of the heist,
Yeah,
you see the planning beforehand, and then it jumps
Right.
around chronologically where you're picking
Yeah.
up pieces along the way.
I feel
It's
like
you know, it's funny. He's a novelist now, and he's going out on book tours, but he was a novelist way before now, because this movie and some other movies that are formatted like chapters have a very like novelistic slant to them.
as much as I love like Pulp Fiction, I think Reservoir Dogs is probably the better of the two, honestly.
Mm, I could see.
yeah. I want to ask what our
'Cause-
favorite
'cause-
Tarantino film
yeah,
is,
'cause,
but it's
like,
tough because he
'cause-
has such a weird
Because
9 films.
because there's less characters to get invested in.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's a tighter
Tighter,
story.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Who? Here we go. Who's your favorite Reservoir Dog? Have you seen this, Jeff? By the way.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I've seen
Just wanted to
Reservoir
make sure
Dogs.
so we weren't gonna, in case we go into spoilers. A
Who's
little
my
bit.
No, no.
favorite?
Yeah,
Mr.
Mr.
Pink?
Pink.
Yeah, Mr. Pink.
Oh,
I've
dude,
worked with
let's
one of
say
the guys
Mr.
from
Pink.
Reservoir Dogs.
I was gonna
We can all have Mr. Pink.
Oh yeah,
say, I want to do Mr. Pink.
It was Steve Buscemi,
It
right?
doesn't help that he has like the standout moment at the very beginning where he talks about his philosophy of not tipping.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the greatest speech.
Yeah, from the jump, you were supposed to like him the most because he's
He's an
it's
asshole.
kind of a star-making turn for
Yeah.
Steve Buscemi. So,
Right.
I like Mr. Brown myself. No,
Is that Eddie
the one
Bunker?
that dies on the way, right?
Oh,
Is that Tarantino or Eddie Bunker?
I think it's Eddie Bunker. Is that his name?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was who it was. I forget.
Okay.
There's Mr. Brown and Mr. Gray.
Yeah.
Are the two that don't make it? Because Tarantino and the older guy, don't make it
Yeah,
back
it's
to the
Bunker.
warehouse.
Yeah, it's Bunker.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think we all like Mr. Pink.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, you can't hear the Spinning Wheel song without imagining Michael Madsen cutting a cop's ear off.
Yeah.
So,
Which
That's
I
probably,
actually
the most
I
iconic
worked
scene of the
Stuck in
movie.
the middle.
I worked with that cop on a movie once.
oh
Really?
yeah,
Yeah, Kirk Baltz. It was a student film actually, but it was pretty well done. But it was intense. It was like, hey, you look familiar. He was like, yeah,
Really?
I got
You
that.
Yeah.
recognize me now?
Exactly.
That's cool.
But yeah, no, I love that movie. I even got like I have a collector's edition somewhere in a box that has like back when they did special packaging for DVDs, and it looks like a lighter, or no, it can't. Yeah, it looks like a thing of lighter fluid,
Oh, that's cool.
Oh yeah.
and then you open it up, and the discs are in a giant matchbook.
Oh, neat.
So it's really cool.
Yeah, I miss the inventive DVD packaging. I like these steel books they have now, but it's like a last ditch grab for people to get physical media. All the
Yeah,
stuff in the
every
early
10 years,
2000s.
every
is
10
so
years,
neat.
people release a new collector's edition, and I mean the hardest part is keeping them all on your shelf.
Right, if
'Cause,
they're weird shapes, that's not good.
Right. But I don't know.
Oh well.
Great movie. We should have all done dressed up in the thing.
We should all had suits.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Maybe next season.
Yeah, right. Maybe in the best of will be Reservoir Dogs.
Right.
Oh well. Can't not mention Harvey Keitel though and Tim Roth because they're the leads.
Yeah.
Well, they're the
Everyone's
heart and soul
phenomenal.
of the whole movie.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, even though I think Mr. Pink's my favorite, I think Tim Roth gives the best performance because he's the linchpin of the turn.
He's in
So,
agonizing pain most of the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember him. There was some story I read about him like preparing for it, and I don't know if you ever read any interviews with him, but it's really fascinating. If you can search for any Tim Roth about Reservoir Dogs, he's fascinating how he like memorized everything, and I think he came up with some of the key details about like when they're prepping and how he was gonna like hide the wire and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
I forget exactly what it was, but I remember everything he had to say was very intriguing about the history of the making of it.
Right.
So, yeah. I wish I'd remembered this was this month. I would have looked that up.
Yeah.
So, all right.
So now on the poster boy.
All right.
Hey, hey.
Let's see.
My time to not quite shine.
Like I
Tim.
mentioned before, with this new Riverside app we've been using, I'm hoping this does look as good as it used to. So, all right.
I don't know, but everyone's getting a high def view of my basement.
Well, it's all right. It's okay.
All right.
So yeah, you can see this, Jeff.
Yes, I can.
Cool.
All right, so I'm going to describe.
Terrifying.
The name of the game is to describe what the hell's going on first. So
I thought
it's
instead of just doing a blank face, I thought manipulate it so it's even creepier.
Yeah, no.
Fuck.
Like,
so all right.
It's for
So
Halloween.
it's an old timey photographer press man, you know, with a one of those little bellows cameras, giant flashbulb going off right in your face, like he's the paparazzi and you're the celebrity.
Yeah. You,
And there's a crowd of reporters behind him in some sort of stock footage overlay. Below him, it looks like he's off into the night. The way that his the flashbulb is positioned, it looks like the moon. So I'm guessing there might be some sort of like haunted feral aspect to this.
I think that's just a an aspect of my Photoshop manipulation. Honestly,
Well, I mean, it
does look
actually,
like that.
I don't know. I'm coming up with ideas here.
So I don't know if you can see the cursor, but
I
on the
can.
curvature of it, I think that's just the wires of that lens,
Right.
the flare, and
Yeah.
because the tagline is in there,
Okay.
that's the black
Gotcha.
smoke coming out of it. So
Gotcha.
I just tried to make it look neat.
So, like aesthetically, though, I feel like that might have been. I don't know.
I
I
think
don't
that's
know.
more.
Who knows? Okay,
I
and
don't
then
want to mislead you. That's why I'm
a
saying it.
yeah.
well, isn't that the point?
So
Is to mislead him?
so there's a fella there. The fella holding the camera is a I don't know. He's got a fedora on. His nose has been manipulated, but he's got a cigar that also kind of looks like a gun
It
sticking
kinda
out.
does.
The way that I don't know if that was part of the manipulation or if that's just like, oh, you know what? It was a cigar holder. I guess that makes sense. That was a thing back then. It was like it hooks onto your lip. That's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know
That's
about
so
that. I
weird.
learned.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But
Now.
How like we've never seen that in any other form of like, media.
Yeah, I'm sure we did back in the actual 40s.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
I don't know if
it
it's
doesn't
the
look
same
very
thing.
photogenic because
Oh,
it
it
just
looks
looks
like
like
it
you're
does.
drooling. You know.
Drooling tar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So it looks like. Okay. So what do you want me to do? For synopsis first, or
Yeah, what do you
who
think
that?
this might be about?
I feel like this is one of those. I want to say some sort of paranormal thing where this reporter goes around stealing people's souls with a haunted
cool.
camera. Haunted camera, and like he's also part werewolf. Hence the thing I thought about the moon. Or
Much
it's
better.
just a really bad paparazzi movie, but like in the 40s or so. I want to say the guy, even though his face is out of whack, I want to say Harvey Keitel, because of the eyes.
He wasn't getting that much work then.
No, well, I don't know. I wasn't sure he had a lucky year.
Yeah.
But if not, Fred Ward. No, not Fred Ward. Who was Fred Willer? No, fuck.
From
Who
the
was
Tremors?
no? Who was the guy who was the absent-minded professor back in the 60s?
Jerry Lewis?
Jerry Lewis?
No, not Jerry Lewis. It was someone
Fred
else.
McMurray?
That's the one. He looks like Fred
He
McMurray.
even dead?
I think.
No, he would have been
Fred
dead by this
McMurray was
point.
dead by 92.
Yeah, he looks like Dick Tracy.
But I'm like those eyes.
That's the fedora.
Yeah, that's the fedora.
Hmm.
What would you
Um,
call this based on what you know?
Snapshot.
Okay. That's not a bad name.
Or
It's not bad. That's not bad.
hang on. Evening edition.
Ooh. Show hadn't come out yet, so.
Like that.
By the way, Fred McMurray passed away in November 5th, 91. So.
Damn it!
Oh,
just
He could have filmed it.
He could have
He
filmed
could
this.
have. He could have done it on his deathbed with the camera.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, let me give you the tagline because
Okay.
it will help maybe give you a sense of what the actual plot is and maybe give you another title chance.
Gotcha.
I know it's a little small.
All right. Hang on. Murder, scandal, crime. No matter what he was shooting, the great Bernzini never took sides. He only took pictures, except once. Oh my God, is this like an Abraham Zapruder biopic?
Yeah, right.
Like ripped from the headlines 30 years later? Okay, so I'm thinking like 40s Nightcrawler, where he like
Yeah.
murdered a guy, then took a picture of it to cover it up.
Honestly, it's not a bad synopsis. I don't know if that is the actual synopsis.
It's really not far.
Yeah.
The great Bernzini. So the great Bernzini. So he always knew where to get the best scoop. He was always just lucky all the time, and then he stopped being lucky, so he decided to make his own luck, and got in trouble, and that's where the event of the movie starts.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Shutter Island. Because Shutter.
Yeah.
And then he wakes up, and it was all a dream.
What do you think, Corey? Is that close enough?
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Do you want to say the plot? Just
Sure.
because he's not going to guess anymore.
It's about a crime scene photographer, Shutterbug, a lowlife who takes pictures of corpses and everything to get sensationalized scoops, and then he gets involved in a conspiracy that could lead to the underbelly of L.A. during the 1930s, 1930s.
Well, we were around the right era.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah, so you're pretty close. I'd give you like 10 points or something. I don't know. I don't know what I usually give you.
Look at the poster boy where the points are made up and the movies don't matter.
Yeah. So before I go on, I believe I give you who this is. Do you have a guess again?
Hang on. Is he older? Is it like an older fellow?
Now he is.
Well, but at that
He's
point.
probably in his 50s at this point.
Okay.
Well, that's pretty old.
Trying to think. Who
He's
was...
in his 80s now.
Yeah.
Was it one of the Douglases?
No.
No.
Think shorter.
Yeah, very short.
Yeah, think shorter.
Not DeVito.
Try
not that short. Somewhere in between.
You're close.
Oh my God. I'm not going to be able to...
They get mixed up all the time.
It's going to kill me when I... What? I get mixed up?
No, they get mixed up all the time. This actor and Danny DeVito.
Well, they did back then.
Yeah.
You know who it is?
Joe Pesci?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What?
Joe Pesci.
Holy crap.
And Barbara Hershey.
Barbara Hershey.
Do you want one more chance at a title?
Wait. Now you said the crime scene thing. Do not cross. I don't know.
It's not bad. I like Snapshot better.
Dead at the scene. I don't know.
You did better at the beginning. But I gave you their faces first.
I don't know who that is. Barbara Hershey.
And there she is in the corner. I thought it would look better, but she ends up blending into the background when I erased her face. So.
Gotcha.
And I knew you probably.
Yeah, I thought she was an ominous sunset. That's
right. So anyway, Joe Pesci and Barbara Hershey in The Public Eye.
The Public Eye.
Yeah, but before we said Joe Pesci, like I started piecing together the face. I was like, wait a minute, and then I got it.
Mm-hmm. All right, so
excellent.
We got one more. This one will go a little quicker. Oh, I also wanted to show you. This is the alternate poster. I actually like this one a lot, but
yeah,
I felt like the other one was more easily manipulated. So
yeah,
I just wanted to show this to you.
That's fair. That's really cool. It's like a four
Like a real
sheet.
40s poster, yeah.
Yeah.
So, shame it's not a better film.
Ah,
So here's your second choice.
All right. So for round 2, it looks like it's a white background with a vault of some sort. A woman grabbing a man with she's got something tied around his neck, and surrounding them are 7 children of varying skin tones, all babies. This is not cheaper by the dozen. This seems like more of a these rich folks like decided to adopt for the tax break,
Mm-hmm.
and some sort of wacky hijinks ensue before CPS existed. And the woman is clearly the what's the word?
Lead.
Let's say boss in this situation. She's the mastermind here. He's just trying to follow along, but she's stringing him up by his fancy ass scarf. I want to say one of them is Kevin Kline
Mm-mm.
Oh god.
in the hair. No,
Mm-mm.
no, okay. The guy. No,
I
Martin
don't know if
Short.
you know who he is.
Well, you know what? Think. Well, if you knew TV back then, he was kind of a big deal on TV.
I didn't
Actually,
know TV
he
back
was.
then. I was watching cartoons back then,
Well,
Corey.
He was
I was gonna say
4.
he wasn't a hit baseball franchise movie.
Yep.
Yeah, that not gonna
I don't
help
think
me.
that's
I
him,
know,
no.
I know.
I appreciate you trying, but
I'm trying.
um,
She was a big TV star, and this
is
was
Yeah,
she?
one of her
That wasn't
attempts to get into
wasn't
film.
Catherine O'Hara? Wasn't who was the? Oh my God, Peg Bundy.
Oh,
No,
Katie Seagal.
Oh,
I would.
Katie Seagal. Um,
more of an 80s sitcom that bled into the 90s.
okay. Oh. Step by Step. No, I'm just gonna name sitcoms now. I
That's okay.
just. All right. I have no idea who these actors are gonna be. I
Yeah.
don't think I'll
I
even
don't know that you'll
recognize.
know them at all, but
But
why don't you come up with a plot? I mean, you kind of did come up with a plot where they're adopting stuff. That's not exactly it, but I guess I can give you a
they're
hint.
stealing babies, and all of the babies are wearing earmuffs, which I
I don't
feel
know
has
why.
yeah,
something to do with
that
it.
might be a industrial freezer. I think, not a safe.
Oh.
Mm,
Maybe, I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, like
Oh my
I
God!
mean,
Is
the
this
vault
a
is along the right track because what buildings have vaults?
Banks? Baby
sperm bank.
Bank? Is this Baby Bank? Oh my God! Is this a sperm bank comedy?
A sperm bank heist.
Wait, what?
Jeff got it.
Oh yeah, there we go.
You know what? Jeff got it quicker than the characters in the movie did.
Oh no.
I can't read the tagline though.
It says at First Family Sperm Bank, she banks as babies.
Banks on babies.
He banks on babies.
He banks on bucks. No,
Neither banked
she.
on falling in love.
Oh no.
Jesus.
Oh my God!
Okay. Well,
So
anyway,
it's just called Baby Bank.
it's Shelley Long and Corbin Burnson.
Get no idea.
You don't know
Shelley
who
Long
Corbin
is the
Burnson is?
star
Did
of Cheers.
Oh okay.
you ever see Major League?
No,
Okay,
Yeah, that's what I figured. That's like
I don't watch movies. That's why we're doing this, because I don't watch movies.
I know.
yeah. But I knew at least you might get the plot based on the babies and such. So
Yeah.
I think
You
you
know what?
did okay.
Although no,
Jeff-
props go to Jimmy for pointing out that it might be a freezer.
Jeff,
Yeah.
Frozen assets.
Damn it,
Oh
sorry.
my God.
Jeff got it
Yep.
way faster than the characters in the movie, though.
I forgot there was one more element, so sorry. I should have had
Okay.
you try to guess,
What's
guess
the
another title
tagline?
based on that plot. Why don't you try to come up with a better title?
What's Baby Bank just sounds worse.
Oh, yeah.
Bank on the future.
Honestly, Frozen Assets is kind of perfect for this garbage.
Yeah.
It is pretty bad. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
This is bad. I could come up with several titles, but none would be appropriate for the internet.
One of the most
Ice Ice
lowest
Baby.
common denominators sitcom trends I've ever heard. A guy thinks this executive thinks he's gonna run a bank, but of course it takes a while before he realizes it's a sperm bank.
Ooh.
And
Okay,
he's
so
the
it's just
only
like
donor, yet
So
So
at one
he's-
point he's talking to a client and he's like, just put your assets in my hands and I can take care of it all for you. And it's like,
so he's running the bank. It's not like a situation where they try to. It's not a heist movie. It's not like
No,
they
no.
rob the bank.
Like,
Okay.
could you
It's more
imagine like
interesting than what
running
they did.
a sperm bank and they try to like do a Ponzi scheme with it,
That's
But
what I
that
thought
was
the plot
better.
but
was.
with like sperm.
Yeah.
So I feel like it would be
Just
funnier if you have
sperm
people
bank.
that were just like trying to rob a real bank, and then they find out that it's a sperm bank.
That would have been better actually.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll give you points for that too. You did well this month.
Now I just want to see if there's a porn parody of this.
Stop.
Yeah.
So,
Roll 34. Anyway.
Yeah.
I'll stop you right there. So, given that this was an ensemble cast this month, I know we could have picked any of them, but I figured the main and obvious choice is to go with what our favorite Jeff Daniels film is.
Ooh.
So, I mean, I know the biggest comedy he made was Just Another 2 Years Away, and that's probably a popular choice.
You know what? You know what I'm gonna go with the Squid and the Whale.
Okay.
The Squid and the Whale is not only a great dramedy about divorce, but also he gives a fantastic performance as this kind of like very aloof, erudite professor. And actually, he's better than Laura Linney in the movie. I think. I love the movie.
Yeah, I like that film as well. It's probably up there for maybe his best film. Definitely top 3 for me.
Yeah.
Trying to think.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's gonna be Gettysburg for me.
Gettysburg is a great one. I wonder if that was going to be mine, but
Oh wait, he was in Pleasantville.
He was.
Which one would you rather have? I'll take the other one.
No, I'm gonna go with Gettysburg.
I'll go with Pleasantville then.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Pleasantville was like a really good
So-
movie.
Gettysburg, Pleasantville. All right, now
He's phenomenal in it.
I have to go with the first thing I saw him in that still makes me cry.
Dumb and Dumber.
Fly Away Home.
Hey,
Oh, wow.
I was
Yeah,
hoping you
that's
would
a good
say
choice
that.
too. That is a good choice.
Fly Away Home was going to be my other choice. So
Rogue was in it.
I'm glad you went with that. And Screw the Whale is a reunion.
Oh, because Anna
Isn't it?
Paquin's in that. And
Anna
but the
Paquin's
gross
in
thing
it.
is, isn't he having an affair with her?
Yep.
Bro.
Fly Away Home, real awkward.
Oh, I forgot about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So
Oh, I forgot.
we
Huh.
we all have pretty good choices. So yeah, Fly Away Home, Screw the Whale, Gettysburg, and what did I say? Pleasantville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there was a TV series where like he also played Washington.
Yeah.
Where they
Was he? It was the Washington miniseries, or
oh, I don't remember. I just
Nobody
remember like
picked
very
Rocky
vividly
General.
seeing like the scene where they're like attacking Trenton and they beat
Yeah.
the Hessians.
Yeah.
And I
Something in the 2000s,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I
he did a
actually-
lot of good things. Pretty good
Ju-
filmography. Purple Rose and
just-
Cairo was pretty good. Arachnophobia.
just looking over his filmography, I just learned that there was an actual ragtime movie
Mm-hmm.
before the
yeah.
musical that it was based on.
That's
Yeah,
his
Milo
first film.
Forman directed it.
That's insane. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never seen it. I want to see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. I hear it's good. I mean, he's had kind of thankless roles recently. He's
Right.
like the executive in The Martian. He's Steve Jobs' opponent to getting to work at Apple, that sort of thing.
But he was in the
But he's doing
newsroom.
the great TV work, like Newsroom.
Yeah.
or-
God.
TV and theater work.
Is it
He
called
won an Emmy
Godric?
for Godless. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's one of those actors that can fluidly go back and forth between drama and comedy.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
He's also just
Jeff and I have seen him twice do To
That's
Kill a
right.
Mockingbird and
Yeah.
that
And
show
Blackbird.
Blackbird.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
it was he's a brilliant actor just no matter what he does. But we were fortunate to see him in theater roles.
That's
Jen
where
actually
our,
has an ongoing conversation with him every time we meet him at a stage door because like she brings up other shows that he'd been in, and they like continue the conversation. It's about
yeah,
how like
we like to think that he remembers Jen. So,
well
but that's where our story about Bruce Willis from a couple months ago comes
Right.
from. We were out seeing Blackbird with Michelle Williams and Jeff Daniels, and then that's when we went to the restaurant where Bruce Willis was celebrating the end of Misery. So tied together this year.
yeah, a little loose end just boop.
There you go.
A fantastic romp all around, guys. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm glad we had this discussion about There Goes the Neighborhood and all these other films. And next month we're going to be watching a film that isn't very near to my heart, but maybe I'll
Great
come
movie.
around on it. Given that tomorrow or this weekend is Halloween, we can't help that they released this film in November, but we're going to be covering Bram Stoker's Dracula, which is, I think, like the 8th highest grossing film of the year, but might be a hidden gem at this point, despite everyone citing it every Halloween in memes on Facebook. So
Okay.
we'll see. We'll see how we all feel about it being a
He's
hidden
he's,
gem.
he's already deriding it.
But yeah, I'm happy because it's Francis Ford Coppola, and that's one of my favorite directors. So even if we're talking about his least important work, we'll be able to discuss his whole oeuvre.
Oh, I know
And
we were
maybe
talking about Jack.
maybe the works of all the actors that failed to adapt Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Ooh, we'll
Accurate.
get into that next month.
Well, it's gonna get
We'll see.
heated,
We'll see.
guys.
We'll see if I come back around on it. I can be nice.
All right.
I think that's the goal. Then we got to change Tristan's mind on this.
Gotta change it.
All right.
There's gonna be some cold-blooded comments.
Uh,
Somebody might have to grit their teeth.
okay.
The fangs are out.
Speaking
see
of
you next
comments, like, subscribe, post, helps
Oh, yeah,
out.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
We're
our
just happy
stuff.
you watched.
Yeah.
We're just doing it for the love of the game. But if anybody likes to watch the game, that helps too.
You're right.
Oh, I guess we're outroing. Wow.